Shalom. First and foremost, want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shah, by Hashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS that rule well. Peace, love, and salutations to all the brothers out there pushing this word of sincerity and the truth. Shalom to the brothers, sisters, and children out there keeping this word of sincerity and the truth. I wanted to go into this quick lesson. When I seen this video, it was something that I had already wanted to go into as a topic about women being in shape or women being in a certain shape, being in shape in general. I can't remember exactly what made me think about it I can't remember exactly why it came up. But I know it was from a conversation I was listening to someone. I was, listening to someone have it in my job, and I think it was a video they were showing me of somebody. It was a woman, and she was completely out of shape. I can't remember exactly, but I had been wanting to do this video for a minute. So when I seen this video on YouTube, I knew exactly it was time. But I'm gonna play this YouTube. I'm play a little bit snippet of this video, and then I'm gonna go into it. And fair use. I'm not using your content to make any money. This is strictly for educational purposes to bring out biblical truths. So fair use, Lord will is edifying.
Most women are out of shape in every function you go to. It's just an observation. I actually include myself in this. I'm not in the best shape either. You look around the room and men be in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and a lot of them be in shape. Then you look around the room at the women, and the women be in their 20s and 30s. You know what I'm saying? Younger women. And most, if not all, the women be out of shape.
Hey, hi, it's me, one of those out of shape 30-year-olds you're talking about, which apparently also includes yourself. I'm really not sure why you made this video, girl. Putting aside the fact that I think all individuals should be able to have whatever body they feel most comfortable with and adjust it accordingly throughout their lifetimes, there's actually a pretty easy answer for this. We have fucking jobs now. I can't stress to you guys enough how often the answer to your silly questions on the internet is simply women have rights, or at least had them for the last couple of decades, even up until the 2010s when millennials started to enter the work.
Right, and see, these women are completely delusional. They are completely delusional, and this is a product of America. Because it's true, out of shape women, like the title say, why are all the women out of shape in the function? Women enraged as feminists, which is true. This is all a byproduct of America, because you do not see this across seas in other countries. It's not the norm. Women being out of shape is not the norm in all these other countries. They are literally in shape, beautiful, and natural. It's only over here in America where you see all these out of shape women, or women that's just their body is not proportionate. And it's men that's like that too, true. But even a woman admitted it, that it's even men in their 30s, 40s, 50s, even 60s, because I know some men in their 60s who are in better shape than a lot of women in their 20s. They're physically fit, they work out, they go to the gym. I myself work out, take different classes, different things as far as martial arts. But as far as physically working out, I work out myself, and brothers do the same thing. Brothers are getting themselves in shape and getting their diets in shape. And that is all a part of our culture. We are a nomadic people. We're always on the move, always on the go. And our ancestors were always out in the field working. When I mean out in the field working, I mean Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. They were shepherds. The sons of Israel, they were shepherds. The nation of Israel, they always tended to the animals. They were shepherds. That was a part of our occupation, our trade. So we was always out doing something, always out moving about. So first thing I want to get is this in Chat GPT. I said, I typed in, what was the physical shape of women in ancient Israel? Now it says the physical shape of women in ancient Israel, as with other ancient populations, meaning the other cultures, would have varied depending on genetics, diet, lifestyle, and social class, which makes sense because not everybody is going to be the same. Not every woman is going to be thin, with nice set breasts, nice ass. It's not going to be like that. Every woman is different genetics. So, you're going to have a difference. However, we can make general observations based on archaeological, anthropological, and historical evidence. Now it says body size and build. Average height. Women in ancient Israel, and it says around the Iron Age, which is just giving dates, were likely around 5 feet to 5 feet 2, tall. Which we're not even going into the height because you can't control nothing about your height. Now body build, that's the main thing. Most women would have had lean builds influenced by physical demanding daily tasks and a relatively limited diet. What it means by limited diet, it means they only ate a certain type of diet, which the best diet is a Mediterranean diet, a diet based on Middle Eastern culture. The diets over here in America is what's destroying people. What people are coming to realize is the so-called white man's way of living on earth is what's destroying you. It's what's keeping you, it's what's killing you. His way of marriage it leads to death, and it leads to divorce, it leads to confusion, and it leads to so much stress and wickedness that can be avoided. His way of diets is what's killing people. Literally, you had the American diet and your whole body just go out. You start dying. Your body starts killing itself because that's not the way that you were designed to be. His way of the school system, education system, so on and so forth, work system, and people can't even use, I work a job. That's not even an excuse, to find time to work out and get yourself in some type of physical shape. But this man's way of life convinces people that, oh, no, I can't do it. I can't do this. I can't do that. I remember being at work. It was probably about 3 weeks to maybe like 5-6 weeks ago now. Just got there for the day. I go upstairs and warm my food up. When I get to my little breakfast, I make my own breakfast. I get there and it's some stairs that I go up to get upstairs to go to where I need to go to. And literally this woman, she could have been in her late 40s, early 50s. I don't know. But that's what she looked like, late 40s, early 50s, somewhere in that area. She didn't look like she was physically out of shape as much as she was. I went up the stairs perfectly fine, but she got up as soon as she got to the top of the stairs, just the beginning of the shift. We ain't even started working yet. She out of breath, breathing hard, breathing extremely hard. So, I'm looking at her, making sure she's straight or nothing. But she talking about them stairs. She was just talking about she hate them stairs. And literally older and younger women always complain about the stairs. And I'm thinking to myself, like, these stairs, it's not even that much. Like, yeah, it's a flight of stairs, but it's not even that bad. But people are complaining about stairs at the beginning of the shift. You ain't start working yet. You ain't even got out there yet. And the stairs is what's taking you out already. Like, that's completely unacceptable. But that's all a result from living the American way. Babylon, the great America, has taught people to be extremely lazy and not take care of yourself. So after you leave, that's why a lot of people say they peaked in high school, or that was their prime time in high school, especially women, because after high school they completely let themselves go. They gain weight, they be out of shape, and it just be madness. Don't nobody want you because you don't look physically attractive, But it says diet and nutrition, another key factor. The typical diet was based on grains like barley and wheat, legumes, olives, figs, grapes, and some dairy. Meat was eaten less frequently, which is true because we wasn't designed to be eating meat every day anyway. That's another thing that was a part of the American diet. And true enough, we do. Most people, if not everybody, or just about everybody, most people say about a good 98 to 99% of America eats meat every day. Me included. I ain't gonna exclude myself from that. But we wasn't designed to do it like that, to eat meat every day. There's literally grains, beans, oat food. It's other different. It's Mediterranean diet, which I need to look it up just to give more information on it. But literally, the Mediterranean diet literally supplies you with everything. And a lot of our people, men included, in the ancient world, well, the men, I say the men, they were muscular, lean. That's how you want to be. You want to be muscular. You want to be lean, strong, but not, overweight. That's how you want to be. And women were lean, beautiful, had a figure, had a shape. But still, strong for a woman to do the task that she needed to do. And in shape. It wasn't about being skinny or nothing like that. That wasn't even the thing. Being you just skinny. That's what most people will say to you now. You skinny. No. You supposed to be lean. Supposed to be thin. That was a standard. And that was really an average thing. And you had some people that had a little bit more meat on them, but they were still physically in shape. It says malnutrition or food scarcity, especially during droughts or sieges, could have affected body development, which that's true. I skipped one. It said this diet, while nutritionally sufficient, could lead to certain deficiencies or stunted growth in some populations, and mainly when it was, like I said, when it was scarcity, when it was tribulation, sieges, famines, different things like that. But on a normal circumstance, people were in shape, lean, and looking beautiful. Now, lifestyle. It says women often engaged in physical demanding labor like grinding grain, drawing water, weaving, and agricultural work, but also being a shepherd as well, tending to animals. They did that too. This would have kept them physically active and fit. Such labor could contribute to strong muscle tone, especially in the arms and back. And you got women, even in today's time, they do a lot of calisthenics. And guess what? They be lean, they be in shape, and they got the right they got the right figure. They still have everything with the right figure, and physically able to move around and utilize their body. It says social and economic factors. Wealthier women might have had fuller figures, so they was a little thicker, more slim thick, due to access to more food and less manual labor. Let me see. Do I want to read the rest? I just do in summary. In summary, women in ancient Israel were likely shorter and leaner than more modern populations. See, they were shorter and leaner being the main focal point than modern populations, because women now are completely out of shape. And then they wonder why men don't even look at them. Men don't want them because you're not taking care of yourself. And then on top of that, you would want a woman that's more physically attractive. As a man, you want women that's physically attractive. It says, with physical builds shaped by hard labor and the modest agrarian diet, their appearance would have reflected the realities of a subsistence lifestyle more than the aesthetic ideal. Now I looked up what is the best physical shape for women to have. It says there is no single best physical shape for women. It depends entirely on individual goals, genetics, health, lifestyle, and personal values, which again, we understand that because everybody's going to have a difference. Health and well-being matter far more than conforming to a particular aesthetic ideal. But the point of me getting this is going to go into it. It says different people and cultures may admire different body types, but here are a few general principles that are widely supported. Strong and functional. A body that supports strength, flexibility, endurance, and mobility is considered highly desirable for health and longevity. So basically, somebody that's in shape and that has a mastery over their body to a certain degree. So like calisthenics. Calisthenics is a very good way of mastering the body, because you can lift weights You can do weight training, and as far as with dumbbells and different exercise machines and stuff like that. But calisthenics is a great form of mastering your body to a certain degree. It's like taking your body to the next level, because not only that's why a lot of people with calisthenics, they have high mobility, because they're utilizing different parts of their body that you can't utilize when you just lift the dumbbells or something like that. For example, people who do like rock climbing or something like that, they have to have a high level mastery of their body, because you're utilizing different parts of your muscles to both to basically like to engage your body, or to support your body into getting up to higher levels. Because if you notice, a lot of people who they might lift weights, like a lot of men that do bench press or different workout equipment, they have a harder time mastering like doing calisthenics and pulling up their body, because there's more weight, there's more muscle that your arms gotta that you putting on your arms, like doing pull-ups and stuff. It takes a harder time. Now if they train both, then that's good, because that's a balance, which is good. But mastering your body weight, that's a workout within itself. And you had women in the ancient world, when they did these physical labors, it kept you in shape, and also you was outside in the sun more, because we are people, we need vitamin D, we need that sunlight, we need that also gave you energy, made you stronger. So all of these played a factor, but the whole overall point was staying in shape. We are people who were supposed to be in shape, lean. It's a part of our culture. So even like I said with calisthenics, even though in the ancient world, like physically carrying things, like say, like it said, drawing water. Anybody knows when you have an empty bucket, it's light. But when you fill a bucket up with water, it gets heavy, and you gotta sit there and carry it. Now imagine you having to do that every day, having to carry maybe 2 buckets of water every day to bring back to do whatever task you needed to do. That's gonna eventually shape you up and make you stronger, and you're gonna be able to utilize those muscles. It's gonna become lighter to you too. You got women now, they got just nothing but fat around their arms, and they're not trying to do anything about it, And not to this ain't no body shaming type thing or nothing like that. This is just to say we weren't built to be out of shape. We weren't created to be out of shape. Why do you think children at young ages, they're always active with energy? You start early, being active, being mobile, That's when your body is starting to form and it's starting to grow. So you're going to have plenty of energy. And that's the perfect time to shape yourself up, shape children up. Now it says balanced proportions. Symmetry and proportionality are often seen as aesthetically pleasing. But again, this is subjective, because everybody don't have it like that. It ain't like that. It's so many factors that go into it. But nevertheless, there's still a way that you could, you still have some control over to a degree by trying to be active. It says healthy body composition. This means a balanced ratio of muscle to fat that supports energy, hormonal balance, and overall well-being, and not specific weight or body or shape. And it's true, because we don't want a woman that's completely just muscular. That ain't what we signed up for. That's a man's job to be muscular. We don't want a woman that's just straight muscular. We still want a woman with feminine features. So some men like a little, everybody likes something different. Everybody ain't the same. Every man ain't the same. Some men like women that's a little thicker. Some men like women that's slim thick. Some men like women that's thin, that's lean. It's all different body shape, different types, and different preferences for men. But one thing they all can have in common is they can still be in shape, and it still looks, aesthetically pleasing to whoever. Now, let me get a couple scriptures. Let me get just Proverbs 31. I'm gonna read down on it. Which I got one more, and I'm gonna go and get this one. This is Chat GPT. Again, it's and I typed in how did Rachel look in the Bible, and the reason why I got this one specifically is because the whole reason Jacob fell in love with Rachel, well, part of the reason, or the main reason, was because of her looks. He fell in love with the way she looked. So it says the Bible gives only a brief description, physical description of Rachel in Genesis 29 and 17. Now, I'm going to get a quick precept about it. Where is it? It's Genesis 29 and 9. It says, and this is Jacob while he was speaking to the other servants. It says, while he yet spake with them, Rachel came with her father's sheep, but she kept them. She was a shepherdess. You know, let's see what it say in other. It say the same thing. Shepherdess. She tended to the sheep. She kept the sheep. You know, that was one of her tasks that she did. You know, the BES. While he was yet speaking to them, behold, Rachel, the daughter of Laban, came with her father's sheep, for she fed the sheep of her father. That was one of the things she did, and it was physically demanded. Just imagine she had to, care for the sheep, guide them, lead them to the feeding trough or whatever they fed at. She had to carry the food or however she had to do it, and she had to give them. Well, they was out there for the water too. That was the whole point. Why Jacob did it, because as you see verse 8, it says, and they said, we cannot until all the flocks be gathered together, and they rolled a stone from the well's mouth, then we water the sheep. You know, so they gave them water and probably cleaned them up and different things like that, you know, whatever the task was. But she fed them, you know, she made sure they had to eat. And let's go down. Verse 17, which that's what the scripture has said. That's what ChatGPT said. Leah was tender-eyed, and Rachel was beautiful and well-favored. In the AMP, Leah's eyes were weak, but Rachel was beautiful in form and appearance. So basically, it's giving a contrast. It said Leah basically wasn't as beautiful as Rachel. It said she was beautiful in form and appearance. So I'm going to let ChatGPT say it. It says Leah's eyes were weak, but Rachel was beautiful in form and appearance. This tells us two things. Rachel was physically beautiful with both a pleasing face and figure because she was outside working. You know, and not only that, you know, Yahweh Shah blessed her. You know, a lot of women, they get blessed by Yahweh Shah to have a certain type of body. And in the kingdom of heaven, every woman is going to have a beautiful body. Every woman is going to be completely beautiful from head to toe, both in physical form and shape and figure, you know. But it also say her beauty is contrasted with her sister, Leah, whose eyes were weak. A phrase that scholars debate. It might mean Leah had poor eyesight, which that's not it. It said, or more likely that her eyes lacked the sparkle or attractiveness that was prized at the time. So she wasn't as beautiful to Jacob as Rachel was, you know, and that was a part of their rivalry. But the Lord saw that Leah wasn't favored. You know, she wasn't his favorite wife, and Rachel got more of the attention. So the Lord opened Leah's womb so that Jacob could have more children with her. That made them closer because she was bearing children, but that put animosity with Rachel because she was his favorite wife. So, I have to read this last paragraph. No further details are given. There is no mention of her hair color, height, or other features. The focus in biblical text is usually more on the character and role in the story than on detailed physical description. However, Rachel's beauty is significant in the narrative, especially because it's a major reason Jacob falls in love with her and agrees to work 7 years and eventually 14 to marry her. So her beauty and her physical attraction was the reason why Jacob falls in love with her. So now let's get Proverbs 31. Starting at verse 10. I'm going to read 10 in the KJV, then I'm going to read the rest of it in the AMP. It says, who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. Now, verse 10, the AMP. An excellent or virtuous woman, one who is spiritual, capable, intelligent, and virtuous. Who can find her? Her value is more precious than jewels, and her worth is far above rubies or pearls. So right now it's going into her mindset and her characteristics. You know, what makes her stand out amongst other women. Her mindset and her characteristics. The heart of her husband trusts in her with secure confidence, and he will have no lack of gain. She comforts, encourages, and does him only good and not evil all the days of her life. These are how the women of the nation of Israel's women are going to be built in the kingdom of heaven. Every single Israelite woman, from the least of them to the greatest, every single last one of them are going to be built like this. She looks for wool and flax and works with willing hands in delight. She is like the merchant ships abounding with treasure. She brings her household food from far away. She rises also while it is still night and gives food to her household and assigns tasks to her maids. She considers a field before she buys or accepts it, expanding her business prudently. With her profits, she plants fruitful vines in her vineyard. And basically what it's saying is how she benefits her husband's enterprise. She equips herself with strength, spiritual, mental, and physical fitness for her God-given task and makes her arms strong. And this is the point. It says she equips herself with strength, spiritual, mental, and physical fitness for her God-given task and makes her arms strong. So she works. She works, and everything that she does is prosperous. So like it says, spiritual. So she's spiritually in tune with the commands of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. Mental, because she's intelligent. You know, this type of woman is also intelligent. But then it even said physical fitness. So she's in shape so that she's fully equipped to do what Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua has ordained her to do. And all of this is for her man. This ain't for her own self. She ain't no independent woman. Proverbs 31 is not no independent woman. And that's the funny thing, you know, just to make this little side note. You got women that will get Proverbs 31 tatted on their body, put on their license plate. They'll get it, put it in their bio on social media, but then they'll say they're independent women. That's that's complete madness, you know. But like it said, she equips herself with these tasks because all of this is for her husband. All of this is for the benefit of her family, you know. But it's their physical fitness, you know. And you know what's crazy? I'm gonna scroll down. I'm gonna get another point. I'm gonna get it in both 30 and 30. I mean KJV and AMP. Now it says, favor is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised. So it says charm in the AMP, charm and grace are deceptive, and superficial beauty is vain. But a woman who fears the Lord, reverently worshiping, obeying, serving, and trusting him with all filled respect, she shall be praised. Because you do have a lot of women that's out here physically fit, that's in shape, but then they ain't right. They wicked. Just like I said, you got women, they got Proverbs 31 tatted on them, or somewhere they try to associate themselves with that, but then they're completely opposite of it. So it goes more than just beauty. Because first and foremost, a woman that fears Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, it's easy for the Lord to make somebody come up. You know, as this word say, a glow up. You'll literally have a woman that all throughout her youth, she might have been big, unattractive to most people. And, you know what I'm saying, she just wasn't the ideal form of beauty, but she had a good mindset. And she was, you know, to the best of her ability, she was virtuous. And then years later, she done had a glow up, and now she still has that virtuous mindset. She got a bad body. Well, I ain't gonna use bad. She got a beautiful body and a beautiful figure, and her face is very beautiful. But she still got those same principles of being, you know, virtuous, and probably even expanded on it. They said that's the type of woman that should be praised. Not because a woman is beauty. And that's what these women think. They think just because they have the modern form of beauty, and some of them might even have a decent body or average body, you know, whatever the case may be, they think that they should be praised. That's not how it's supposed to be. You know, the full package, the first and foremost important thing is a mindset on serving the Lord, and for a woman, and for a woman, a mindset of serving the Lord is serving your man and being beneficial to his enterprise and being beneficial to your family, and trying to recreate the same thing by raising your children to be productive members of society, you know, and not this society, but the society that Yahweh Bashim Abishai is creating. You know, that's the whole purpose, to make the next generation productive members of the next society so they can go and do the next same thing. So filling them with the righteous mindsets that the Lord has told us to do, found in the Bible. But a part of that is also being in physical fitness, you know, being in shape. And that's literally one of the things that attracts a man to a woman is their beauty, you know. But that's why the scriptures tell us not to get caught up in that. As men, we shouldn't get caught up in that. You know, don't let that be the reason why you fall, because many men have failed because of women and because of the beauty of women, you know. So that's why these scriptures are there. But they don't neglect from the fact that women are you're not supposed to be out of shape. And that's just complete madness. You know, why do you think the Lord would create men and, you know what I'm saying, and fill us with, you know, basically put it in us to desire women, and a part of our attraction to women is beauty, and then turn around, women can be out of shape, you know, and unattractive. That ain't what we want, you know. But I said I wasn't gonna make it too long. Lord will, this is an edifying lesson. And on that note, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS that rule well. Peace, love, and salutations to all the brothers out there pushing this word of sincerity and the truth. Shalom to the brothers, sisters, and children out there keeping this word of sincerity and the truth. Until next time, shalom.